Welcome to In the Pocket with Rich Gannon. Perfect timing to get Mr. Gannon's perspective coming off that game he called with CBS yesterday. The Broncos taking on the Chargers. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Rich, thank you so much for joining us today.
Erin, it was a great day yesterday for the Raiders. I talk a lot about how important a win it was to go to Kansas City a couple of weeks ago, but to go to Cleveland with those conditions and to get a win on the road in the Eastern time zone, impressive.
Impressive indeed, and let's talk about it because it was a huge AFC win for the Raiders, 16-6 over the Browns. Not a lot of points, but first let's, of course, talk about Derek Carr and the weather. 43 degrees, wind chill of 31, 35-mile-per-hour winds. His stats may not jump off the page, but how did you believe DC did in those conditions, and how challenging is it to play in weather like that?
That's one of the harder places to play in Cleveland because you get the winds off the lake. They're very inconsistent. It's not just a question of the game time temperature. It's the wind, it's the footing, it's the chill in the air, it's the players around you and how it impacts them, the kicking game. There's so many different factors. I thought he handled it well. I thought more than anything, his attitude about it. So much has been made about, how he has fared in games where the temperature is below freezing, and I just thought he had a great attitude about it. Hey guys, let's go out, let's attack this thing, and let's not make it a big issue. And I just thought that his mindset was appropriate for the conditions yesterday, and I was happy that he played. He didn't put up big numbers, but he took care of the football. As he has all season, the way he has managed the game and the young players has been impressive.
Only 2 interceptions through 7 games, and he showed off his wheels yet again. 6 runs, 41 rushing yards for Mr. Carr. And speaking of rushing yards, 2 words to describe yesterday's win over the Browns: ground and pound. Josh Jacobs, of course, surpassing 100 rushing yards for the first time this season. For you, Rich, what impressed you about what Josh and the offense were able to do against the Browns?
Well, Erin, we've been talking about it for weeks. You mentioned just his first 100-yard rushing game, a career high, though, 128 yards. And he needs to be more of a factor week in and week out. 31 touches is important for him. And I just think it's important for the offense. It's important for Derek. It's important for the play-action game. You look at the issues, again, at right tackle. And I just thought that, it was a statement game for him. And I think it needs to be a statement game for him each week. And you can do that by giving him touches. 31, maybe a bit too many, but to me, with those conditions, the way it was in Cleveland, I think it certainly merited him having a lot of opportunities in the running game. 15
more minutes time of possession over the Browns. You want to eat up the clock, and that's what happened with the Chiefs, of course, week 1 against the Panthers. And after last week's loss to the Bucs, John Gruden said, expect some changes to be made to the defensive side. Why do you believe, Rich, the Raiders defense had success against Baker Mayfield this week?
They didn't get the sacks, but sometimes the hits, the hurries, the knockdowns, the pressures are enough to affect the quarterback. And I thought they did a nice job of that yesterday with Baker Mayfield. They got him moving, they got him off the spot. I just thought, third down was a big down. And obviously holding them to just 3 first downs on third down, 3 of 10 was big. But 223 yards of offense and a couple field goals. I mean, to me, that was a big performance for the Raiders on defense. A kind of a statement performance and something that we've been waiting for all season long.
Yeah, no touchdowns from Baker. Coming off a week last week where he had 5 touchdowns, certainly impressive from the defensive side. Next week, the Raiders take on the Chargers, who are coming off that last-second loss to the Broncos. You called that game. You saw it. This is an important game, though, for the Raiders to stay in the playoff race, right, Rich?
It is. And, I think the Chargers are trying to make a bit of a move. Their problem is they can't finish off games here. And they've 4 straight weeks where they've had leads of 10 or more, and they can't get it done. They won last week against Jacksonville, but they've lost a lot of games at the end, and they're having a difficult time finishing. But the issue is not at the quarterback position. Justin Herbert was the AFC Offensive Rookie of the Month for October. He's played really well. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns just about every week. And he's given him a chance to win each week. And he's got some playmakers. Mike Williams had a big day yesterday. Obviously, we know about Keenan Allen. And Hunter Henry's a really good tight end. And they ran the ball better yesterday with 3 different backs. I thought that was a big story. Anthony Lynn talked about running the ball better without Austin Eckler. So that's going to be a real challenge, I think, next week. And of course, you've got Bosa and Ingram to deal with on the defensive side of the ball. Joey Bosa left the game yesterday with a concussion, and that was a huge story in the fourth quarter because that's where all three of Drew Lock's touchdowns came in the fourth quarter when Joey Bosa wasn't on the field.
Well, Rich, we are always so excited to get your perspective. You called the game with the Chargers and the Broncos' last-minute loss to Denver. This is going to be an important win for the Raiders moving forward as they look to stay above 500 in Week 9. Rich Gannon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Erin.